1, apologies for absence and substitute members. Welcome everyone to this virtual meeting of the External Scrutiny Panel, and welcome to those that are listening to the proceedings online via the live broadcast. Attendees will notice that they are muted, and this will remain the case throughout the meeting so that one participant at a time speaks and to minimize any noise feedback. If members wish to speak, please use the raised hand function, which I will see, or the chat function, which the scrutiny officer will monitor. Please await your turn and speak when called to do so, remembering to unmute yourself first. Whilst it is anticipated that proceedings will run smoothly with requests to speak being directed through me, please, I reserve the right to mute, warn, or remove any contributors should they become disruptive. Apologies. I haven't received any apologies to date. Although this meeting is correct, I will call upon members one by one. If you could please unmute yourself and remute yourself to confirm your presence. So, Councillor Mushtaq Ahmed. Councillor Saima Ahmed.
Hello, good evening, everyone. And I would like to welcome our youngest participants to today's meeting. I'm really excited to hear from them. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Paul Donovan. I did see him in here. Councillor Donovan, are you here? He must have disconnected or something. Councillor Judith Garfield.
Hello, yeah, I'm here, and it's great to see some of the young people here. So welcome, thank you.
Councillor Daniel Morgan Thomas.
Hello, yes, I'm here.
And the Vice Chair, Councillor Mrs. Ryan.
Hello, welcome everyone.
And I'll ask for the co-opted members, Mr. Birde. And Mr. Holder. Right, I see Councillor Donovan.
Councillor Donovan is back online, yeah.
Yeah, I can see his head. So let's make a note of that. Right, if anyone loses connection during the meeting, please attempt to rejoin using the calendar invitation you will have received. If you wish to dial in, you may wish to put 141 before your number to ensure privacy. I didn't know that works on Teams. I will introduce our young people representatives, cabinet members and officers at the start of item 5. Moving down, declaration of interests, agenda item 2. For this item, I am required to remind all members to declare any pecuniary or non-pecuniary interests they or their spouse or partner may have in any matter that is to be considered at this meeting. Agenda item 3, report of the previous meeting held on 7th September 2020, pages 1 to 6. There was an action arising from that meeting, which is to ask the cabinet member and leader to keep flood alleviation on the agenda of the council as time goes. We'll keep monitoring that in every meeting. There wasn't really an action point to come out of that, as it was a consistent one to be done over time. Are there any corrections to the minutes from pages 1 to 6? And can we agree the minutes as a true record? If anyone has any corrections, please raise your hand or use the chat function. I'll take that as agreed then. Excellent. The next agenda, public participation. There are no registered speakers for the upcoming item. The next agenda item is young people's priorities, a presentation by young people. This scrutiny panel has agreed to dedicate one of its meetings to engage with young people at least once annually. This evening, we have invited representatives of Redbridge's Youth Council and child-friendly ambassadors to discuss with us the key issues that concern them and what might be done to address them. There will be 4 speakers, each putting before us their considerations of one of our 4 topics they believe reflect the current local priority matters for young people. 1, Black Lives Matter. 2, why Redbridge? 3, current concerns. And 4, the environment. Each presenter will be allowed a maximum of 15 minutes to set out the key points they wish to make. Once all 4 topics have been put before us, I will then invite scrutiny panel members, followed by cabinet members, to ask questions and offer their views on each topic area, allowing 10 minutes maximum per topic. Time permitting, I may allow some further discussion if required. However, I would like a little time to sum up our discussions at the end and to set out any next step that will be taken in considering the issues raised. Let's begin the presentations. Would each presenter say their name clearly at the start and who they are? If you have been speaking for 10 minutes, the scrutiny officer will let you know you have 5 minutes remaining. Once each presenter is finished, we'll move directly on to the next. So, presenter number 1 will be talking about Black history. Can everyone see the screen that is up? Excellent. Do you want to proceed? Just introduce yourself and start on your presentation.
Hello, is Sean going to speak before us, or has he already spoken?
We should be on the first screen. Sorry, we'll be on the first screen, and it's Ahmed starting.
Ahmed, okay.
So if you want to go back a slide, Dasmal.
Hi everyone, my name is Ahmed Rahman and I'm the Member of Youth Parliament for Redbridge. The young people here tonight are representing the 40 members of Redbridge Youth Council and Child Friendly Redbridge ambassadors who took part in this project. We are all members of Redbridge Youth Council and Child Friendly Redbridge ambassadors and are aged between 12 and 17 years old and come from across the borough. We will be presenting the topics for discussion and will do our best to answer any questions that you may have, and the other members of our group are watching the live broadcast. Over the past year, both groups have been really busy with various projects, and we have met with several groups and have run various consultations. Currently, we are in the middle of Make Your Mark, the largest young persons consultation, and we are also supporting Lockdown 2, the follow-up consultation that we have developed with the Tri-Borough Partnership and our local clinical commissioning group.
Hi, my name is Abdullah, and I'm going to be talking about the External Scrutiny Panel. The External Scrutiny Panel is an opportunity to focus the attention of Redbridge councillors on young people's needs and priorities. This year, all the meetings with young people and officers have been online. We agreed 4 topic areas which we feel are priorities for Redbridge young people. The topics came from discussions that we have been having at Youth Council and the Child Friendly Redbridge meetings. The topic are issues that we feel can have a positive input into without duplicating the work. For example, with mental health, this is a really big issue for us, but over the past year, we have produced a back to school leaflet to help young people cope with the stress of returning to school. And we have produced a magazine with pictures and thoughts about our time in lockdown. We also know that the council is doing a lot in this area, so we have concentrated on different areas. The topic areas that we agreed are Black history, why Redbridge, young people's current concerns, and environment.
Hi everyone, I'm Sia. Nice to see you all. Having chosen the topics, we each chose the group we felt strongest about. In our topic group, we discussed the issues and researched what was happening in Redbridge, as well as ideas from across the UK. After we had scoped our topic, we invited key officers to individual topic meetings to discuss the issues further. Following the officers' meetings, we listed our key areas of considerations, which we are presenting here. Everyone who took part in this process will receive a national recognised accreditation that acknowledges the skills we have learned in researching the issues and discussing these with officers and councillors.
Shard, it's your time to talk now.
Thank you very much for having me on board. So I like to start our discussion on Black history. So this year has been a perilous yet tricky one for all of us. But in this year, more than any other, we've had to work together for the common good. And in the past year, the death of George Floyd has helped highlight institutional racism and the oppression that widespread racism in our society causes. And according to the Institute of Race Relations, in the 2013-14 financial year, we saw an average of 130 instances of racist hate crimes per day. I couldn't find any more recent statistics, sadly, but that just showcases the impacts of racism on minority ethnic people. And the key path to shifting people away from racist ideologies is through education. So today we'll be proposing several measures that Redbridge Council can take on board on marking Black history, on educational measures we can take so we can improve outcomes for people of colour in our society, especially Black people. I'd now like to hand over to Nikita to discuss this further.
Thanks so much, Sean. I'm Nikita Kandarachi, and I'll be speaking about Black history and schools. So we feel that Black history should not be highlighted and talked about just in October each year as Black History Month. It should be with us all year round in our daily lives. Since May this year, we have seen social unrest as the result of profound inequalities that Black people have experienced. We believe educating people now and about Black history can influence positive changes for a better society. We acknowledge that equality for all should be the basic right for people in society. For the reason I have explained, we will focus on Black history on this occasion. Slide 5, please. We understand there are limitations to achieving a standardized school curriculum on Black history. However, across the country. However, we do believe schools in Redbridge have a vital role in educating people on Black history and inequalities in our schools. Our considerations are school leaders should put more emphasis on teaching Black history in their own schools. We should have teaching material and library books that show different aspects of Black history in schools and that highlight the relevance of British history, and that students should be encouraged and do research on a Black History project. Thank you. Now we're going to be going over to Sia.
I'll be speaking about Black history outside of the classroom and individuals' experiences. We also need to educate people about Black history and inequalities outside the classroom. Our considerations are there should be events, exhibitions, and public displays that celebrate different foods and cultures to provide more information and understanding and help bringing people together throughout the year. We should promote positive Black role models and businesses owned by Black people. There should be a comprehensive range of information at all libraries for the public to access. Individuals' experiences tell the truth. What people have experienced and witnessed can surpass the words of politicians and leaders and have a bigger impact. Our considerations are that high-quality training is available to professionals from different disciplines so they can help to educate the people that they work with. For example, unconscious bias training. There is greater accountability of public services, and we help build bridges with the local community.
I think that's done with the first part of the presentation. We're now moving on to the next bit, why Redbridge. I'll just remind members of the panel and cabinet members to make notes of any questions they'd want to ask for each part and comments so that we can come back to it after the 4 presentations are done. Right, who's starting off this bit? Why Redbridge?
It's me, Ahmed. So yeah, I'll be speaking about why young people will want to live in Redbridge and employment and education. We want to ensure that Redbridge is a place where we will want to live and work in 10 years' time. We believe that Redbridge should be a safe and exciting place to live with good employment, education, and affordable housing. Redbridge should continue to have green spaces, be an environmental haven, and have something exciting to make people want to come here, and of course have its own distinctive culture. We want people to stay in Redbridge, not just pass through it. employment and education. We want to increase employment and have more work experience opportunities for young people. Good education is important, and having a higher education establishment or university campus locally would encourage young people to stay here. Our considerations are the way people work is changing, so we need to move things online and boost local development. The number of young people looking for work has increased. This Kickstart scheme will boost employment, and Work Redbridge are developing a youth hub to share news and information. Both sound like excellent initiatives and need to be well publicized. The Council on Health and Social Care have an array of opportunities, and these need to be offered as work and work experience to young people. Students need more support around mental health, stress, and time management. We want better promotion of the available resources. We want to improve the local higher education opportunities so that young people choose to stay here. I'm now going to pass it on to Yusuf.
Hi, I'm Yusuf, and I'll be speaking about culture, leisure, and safety. We need to have more to do in Redbridge to make it stand out. We want to have something exciting to encourage people to stop and get off the train. Our considerations are: we want Redbridge to be recognised as one of the more important boroughs in London. Redbridge diversity is growing, and we need to build on this. Space studios are creating artwork across the borough. We want to promote and expand this. We want to highlight Redbridge history and communities in a new and dynamic way. Redbridge is a green borough, and we need to promote this. Fairlop Waters and Hainault Forest are both being redeveloped, and we want this to be innovative, and we want to get young people's views on this. We want the Safer Travel and Regeneration team to work together to help improve accessibility to more locations in Redbridge. Safety. We want to feel safe walking and travelling around Redbridge. Our considerations are: we want people in Redbridge to cycle more, so we need safer, specialist cycle lanes. We want affordable, free cycling training for all and improvements on cycle parking. We want to continue with the School Streets initiative to help clean up the air around schools. We want to continue to promote cycling and walking to school. Now I'll hand it over to Raoul.
Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting us. I am Raul, and I will be speaking about young people's current concerns and communication between young people and the council. Our main issues are school, transport, and communication. We want safe spaces to study, do things, and meet friends. School is very stressful, as we don't know exactly what is going to happen with exams, and we are worried about the impact of COVID on our health and education. Our mental health is being affected, and we know the council is doing a lot, but we are not getting all of the information. Communication. We don't know what the council is doing for us, and we need more information. Our considerations are: communicating with young people doesn't come naturally to the council, so we think that young people should work with the council to create and share communications. The council should secure funding to hire young people and provide work experience opportunities so it can help share important messaging.
Hello, I hope you're well. I'm Amna Farouk, and I'll be speaking about schools, safe spaces, and transport issues, which are mainly faced by students during this current pandemic. So first of all, school and safe spaces. Majority of the students have myriad concerns about their exams and the lack of support that they're being given. We require more places not only to hang out but also to study. And although we're pleased with the continuation of free school meals and free public transport, our extracurricular activities have been cancelled, and majority of our safe spaces have been reduced in numbers. So consequently, we have nowhere to go where we feel safe to hang out or to study. So our key considerations are: children's centres and other youth public locations could be opened and staffed so that they could become study spaces as they've got access to Wi-Fi. A virtual study space could be set up, which would allow young people to help each other out, and this could also be an inter-school initiative. The council could also encourage businesses to donate old laptops, which could be reconfigured and given to students who need them for online classes during the pandemic. And furthermore, Instead of our extracurricular activities, the council has been providing extra mental health services. For example, they have set up a helpline for young people, which is run by the education wellbeing team. And we believe that this should be well publicized so that every young person knows that they do have the support if they need it. And this moves me on to the next issue, which is that of transport. Due to the current pandemic, the buses have reduced seating capacity, but we students still feel unsafe because people are still too close in proximity on the buses without wearing face coverings. So our key considerations for this are: TfL have worked closely with the council, and we've been informed that bus drivers can't actually confront the public, so they can't advise them to wear face coverings, and therefore we believe that peer-to-peer messaging around face coverings should be encouraged more. And as well as this, we would like more buses to be operating both before and after school so that students have easy access to public transport. That's all. Thank you for letting me speak.
Hi, my name is Faizan, and I shall be speaking about the environment and waste and recycling. So when it comes to the environment in the London Borough of Redbridge, we want it greener and cleaner. The usual, we want to reduce waste, be more carbon neutral, and have lower emissions from vehicles by having them use renewable energy. We also want to encourage more people to walk or cycle or use public transport, and we want to use more renewable energy across Redbridge. Please move on to the next slide. All right, so when it comes to waste and recycling, we want to reduce plastic bags, encourage shops to be carbon neutral, and have more workshop in schools around renewable energy to educate young people across Redbridge. Our considerations for this are: we want more recycling bins in school, we want zero tolerance for littering and harsher punishments both in schools and in the wider community. We want schools to share ideas and share good practice amongst each other, and we want to encourage all schools to establish an environmental committee or a club of this sort. I shall pass it on to Madeline, who shall speak more about this.
My name is Madeline. I'll be speaking on the topics of transport, renewable energy, and emissions in public health in Redbridge. On the topic to promote renewable energy in Redbridge, we believe that the Redbridge Council should invest in these areas and encourage its citizens and charging points for electric cars. We would also like to encourage people to walk and cycle with more safe cycle lanes in an effort to improve emissions. Our considerations on this topic are to promote renewable energy and encourage more people to have more renewable energy plans, an example for people to switch to cleaner energy, for the council to invest in cleaner and greener HEVs when the technology is available, of buses and coaches to clean and hybrid models. And despite its difficulty, we would like the council to provide, and as we will encourage young people to cycle more and in larger, safer groups. On the topic of public health, we would request more water fountains around the stations to keep people hydrated and safe. We want to encourage people to reduce their carbon. So our considerations for this topic are thinking about making them more COVID compliant. We would like the council to install more water fountains in public areas and build hand washing basins for safety. And overall, we would like to work with TfL to put hand sanitizer on public transport to improve health and safety there.
That's the end of our presentation, and on behalf of the Youth Council, CFR ambassadors and young people in Redbridge, I would like to thank the external scrutiny panel and councillors for the opportunity and support they have given us in this project. I would also like to thank the officers who took the time and energy to attend the meetings and discuss the issues with us. And I would like to thank all the workers who have supported us to research essential topics and run meetings with young people.
I'm extremely proud and thankful of all the officers that supported us and attended each meeting. I would like to thank all the officers who organized this important meeting. And of course, I would love to thank all the young people that worked hard through these hard moments and could research on the topics. We would not have done it without you. We now have finished representing each of the topic group work. Thank you.
Right. Thank you all very much. That was a really comprehensive presentation, and I'm really impressed personally by some of the ideas, some of the things you guys touched on. And I will now open the floor up to members of the panel so we can have a discussion and speak to you. But credit to you guys. You know, I don't think I could have presented like that when I was your age. So huge credit to you guys and thank you. Right, let's see whose hands we have up. I've got Councillor Mrs. Ryan first. Councillor Mrs. Ryan, you're muted, I think.
That's because I did what you told me to do. It was great to hear your presentations and to know you've worked so hard at it. Is Jade online? Is Jade and Ian online?
Yeah, I'm here.
Right, because Jade, I do know that in Central Library, well, in the library service in Vision anyway, that October isn't just for Black History Month. You're concerned about Black history all the year round, and
yeah.
And it's something that you do take care of to do it. I wonder if you could tell us something about the resources that you have in Central Library and the other libraries, not just Central. I know that that's a good focus for a lot of things. What you have there, the kind of things that you did for Black history around the borough, and what resources you have, be it books in second languages, information, books by iconic people of mixed race or different ethnic diversities. And because the young people have shown such commitment to this topic, do you actually think that next year, or even when you're planning events for Black history, be it in October or any time of the year, you could involve the panel, involve the group, please?
Yeah, I would actually love to work with the child-friendly ambassadors and do a bit more work with the Youth Council. I've recently taken over the coordination of Black History Month, and for me, it would be very beneficial to work with young people because I like to do events that people actually want to turn up for. I want events that young people actually want to attend and are important to them. So, you know, some of the things that they raised in the previous presentation, we do actually currently do quite a bit of that. Throughout the year, I certainly provide, you know, multiple events centering around Black history, and I'm also in charge of Hub Central, and I do try to work with a lot of Black facilitators for workshops. In regards to resources, we do have a wide selection of books available, and we also have a service now where if we don't have the book, we can actually order it for you. So, I mean, I do think that some of our collections do need to be updated, but again, that's a collaborative process that we need to go through with young people. So, yeah, I mean, we do multiple different events. I'm always open to doing new events. I think sometimes we get caught in the tradition of doing the same old thing, and I'm really into new and exciting projects. Like last year, we actually transformed the Central Library into a marketplace that featured music. It gave people in Hub Central the opportunity to sell some of their products because we work with startup businesses. We had a fashion show, there was food. So I'm really interested in just bringing all kinds of different topics together to celebrate throughout the year. I completely agree with you that October shouldn't, you know, Black history should not be limited to October. And I'm also very interested to do events and have topics on Black British history, because I think a lot of the times we get lost in the American history. So yeah, I'm very much up for collaborating with young people. I think it's important that their voices are heard, because a lot of the times people assume that there's, you know, certain things that young people want, and that is actually not the case. You know, they mentioned that they'd like some safe places. So in the central library, we certainly have a lot of room for people to come in and sit and study, as well as in some of the other smaller branches around the borough. So, you know, I'd be really happy to collaborate with some of the young people so we can actually get it right.
Thank you, Jane.
Councillor Mrs. Ryan, you've muted yourself. You're muted, Councillor Mrs. Ryan.
Is that better?
Yeah, you might want to start again.
Just before you go to someone else, I'd be absolutely delighted to have more artwork around the borough, be it murals on school buildings, railway arches, all kinds of. And in fact, when we have new planning developments, I'd love to have some artwork incorporated in that, something that many of your A-level and O-level students will be able to do, so it need not be expensive. And thank you very much. You know, I'm delighted and look forward to listening to the rest of you. Thank you. I'll mute again.
Jade, did you want to respond to that? Your hand's up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that last Black History Month, I actually did put on a competition for young people. It was for young artists to show their interpretation of what it means to be Black and British. So that is something that I was hoping to collaborate with Space this year to do it on a much larger scale. But however, the pandemic, you know, messed with that. But that's certainly something that I would like to continue on. I'm very interested in various topics. I don't just want it to be, you know, people sitting in a room talking at you. So any opportunities to work with young people, I'm up for it.
Excellent. I've got Councillor Saima Ahmed next. Councillor Ahmed, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Chair. Right. First of all, a big thank you to all of the young presenters. I'm really pleased the way they have put forward all the recommendations they have presented. I'm really satisfied with that. I think that spoke in volumes. Even I can't do it most of the time like the way you did it. So well done you all. I think so there was a lot to take on. Obviously all were very brilliant ideas, and I'm sure we can work through that. But some of the things that really spoke to me was the work around communications. A lot of the thing that I thought that you said that you feel that a lot of the information you don't always get, and we don't always get the wonderful works that you have been doing. Perhaps I could make a suggestion that if we could have a more regular communication, say you have all our emails, if you are doing something, if you can send it around to all the councillors. I would love to be a part of whatever you are doing, and we would love to have you more often when we do, say for example, when we were doing the corporate climate change panel work, we had a session with the young population, and it was really great to have some of your ideas, what you spoke today, to come across. And I think that would be brilliant if you have something that we can contribute. I think that would be really a good step. Second thing is a lot of the surveys that we do. Recently, you know, the crime survey that we have, there's got a children version of it. I think it would be a brilliant idea that if we have more similar surveys as a part of being a child-friendly borough and including young people, we design our surveys. We have a, you know, like when we do large print and different kind of BSL version of it, if we have one for child-friendly one, I think that would mean that we are opening to, you know, more different parts of our population. That would really help. The other thing I think that we can really do is the work around schools. I think that is a great starting point. A lot of the work that we do are, I would say, very serious, very jargon based, but schools can really work around how they can have special trainings, leadership trainings, and we can go and help out and listen to how you are developing yourselves, and we can have really good understanding of that. I think school-based leadership work really can help. In terms of myself, I don't know whether I should declare this as an interest or not, but one of my young actors who I have been training to be on stage is here. So Yusuf Kabir, really proud to see you here today.
Hello.
So basically, Chair, I am an amateur theatre director, and Yusuf Kabir has been one of the first British Bangladeshis to stage a play theatre, and it was the first time in its history to go on stage. So there you go. We've got some achievements. Thank you.
That is really excellent. I'll look to Cal and Michael to see whether that is an interest that they should note down. And Yusuf, fantastic work. Your presentation was really good as well. I'm just looking to see who else has their hands up. I don't have, where is it? Oh, this thing freezes when I need it the most. I've got two people with their hands up who are not panel members. I'll just look to panel members again, so that way we can go through different groups. Councillor Donovan?
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, brilliant contributions, and I would agree with all of them. I mean, one of the things that I was at a meeting some years ago, and people were talking about words, and there's a lot of truth in that. And you know, having served on the council for 2.5 years, I've come to see more and more of that, more and more words. But what is really important is authentication, authenticity in what people do. And in terms of what you were saying about Black Lives Matter, about Black History Month, I mean, what we want to see is something actually happening. People talk about stuff a lot. I mean, I'm from an Irish background. We can go back to the years of, no blacks, no Irish, no dogs, the notices in windows back in the sort of 60s, 70s, whatever. But we talk a lot, but we've got to see things happen. Now, you put things forward. The council's has made some very positive comment, but you've got to hold us to account, and you've got to make sure that these things happen, because authenticity is key. If it's not authentic, we might as well not be here. We're just wasting our time. We're just talking. So, you need to keep us to account to make sure that happens. On the stuff you said about communication, absolutely right. We need to communicate better. Some of us do communications and we tell people we need to communicate better, but sometimes they don't listen. But keep on with that one as well. And on the environment, yes, I mean, the council is committed. We've got the climate emergency motion. But again, you need to hold our feet to the fire. You need to make stuff happen, because, I find it very, very frustrating. I mean, we've got the COVID. Now, you look at the COVID pandemic, it's an example of a crisis. And when there's a crisis, suddenly billions and billions of pounds can be found to deal with it. The climate, the biodiversity, the fact we're being poisoned every day by the air we breathe is an emergency. The money can be found. 50,000 people die every year from pollution. And, we just need to make this happen now. Not just talk about it and, we can back burner it until we've got the money. It can happen now. It's an emergency. It needs to happen now. But it'll only be if you get involved and pressure people, hold their feet to the fire, hold our feet to the fire to make sure it happens. So, yeah, brilliant what you've done, and just keep on doing it.
I thought I saw Faizan's hand up. Did you want to respond to Councillor Donovan, or did you want to make a separate point?
No, it's fine.
Cool. I've got Councillor Morgan Thomas next. Floor's yours, Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry for not doing it prompted. It's all going very well technically this evening. I agree with all the panel. There's a really great series of presentations, and I think very restrained to spread it all out between you. So you, unlike all of our committee meetings where we're given a short period of time and go massively over, you were given a far longer stretch of time and went under, which is to be commended, especially for people who have to chair meetings. Of all the things you said, a lot of it's been picked up by other people. I thought one of the really interesting sections was around transport. And the way you got that in, and that is actually one of the areas specifically of this panel. Our next meeting in January will be on transport. I think it's really worth bearing in mind the points you've made, the way that our young people in the borough, we have an awful lot of young people, and what you need from transport, about the current needs in the pandemic, but also your priorities generally, how it affects you getting to school is really important. I think that's something that's really worth us bearing in mind when we speak to Transport for London and others, as we will be in the new year, which is really important for us to take on. I was also really pleased to hear that you mentioned right at the beginning, not just these issues we bring us tonight, but actually the fact that around mental health in particular, you'd actually been able to pick that up as part of the council's regular work. A couple of the other members of the panel have spoken about the ways we can involve young people in policymaking as a council throughout the year. And I think it's really encouraging to hear that you have actually been able to take part and directly and influence the council's own and the NHS in this case policy on issues that affect you. I think it's really to be commended. And I hope that, as Councillor Donovan says, these issues that really matter to you, it's not just a question of bringing them to this panel this evening and being able to present them really well, but actually finding the areas that you can get access to, and hopefully as a council we can help you have access to have your voices heard all through the year. So thanks again and well done.
Just to follow up on Councillor Morgan Thomas's comments, the next meeting, which will be in January, will be about public transport. Young people, you're more than welcome to come along to that meeting and make your views heard directly to Transport for London, MTR, Crossrail. We'll be happy to host you. You can work with Cal and Michael just to arrange that, basically. But we'd be happy to host you in January's meeting, where you can directly talk to Transport for London and MTR, Crossrail, and the local bus operators as well. I'm looking around to see if there are any more hands up. Councillor Garfield, did you want to say anything? And I believe we've got cabinet members here as well who are also welcome to speak.
Yeah, I'm happy to say just a couple of words, just how fantastic I think that presentation was. I think there was lots of food for thought, things that we need to take on board, things that we need to discuss further with you, things that, you know, have certainly opened my eyes to some of the things that we are doing and not doing in the borough. So thank you all very, very much. It was very well put, very concise, and I probably want a bit of time to digest some of it. I think, like Simon, I think my big issue is about how we effectively get information out to you. What works for you? Because I know that, you know, I'm of an age, dare I say, of I probably use completely different communication to all of you. So you need to tell us, and you need to inform us, and possibly even, dare I say it, educate us about what works for you, and get more involved if possible in how we do things so it meets your needs, but also about enabling you to have a voice and do what is right for you, rather than us doing it for you. So the more you can get involved and the more you can come and tell us and be involved. And I thought the suggestion on Kickstart, apprenticeships and having more young people employed by us, I thought was a fantastic idea, because I think that's possibly one of the ways, and your great suggestion in how we actually deliver on your agenda. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming here tonight. I hope to see more of you, really.
Thank you, Councillor Garfield. Sorry, the notifications from people sending messages have taken over one side of my screen, so I struggled to unmute myself for a second. I've got Councillor Elaine Norman up next. Councillor Norman is the Cabinet Member for Children and Young People. So, Councillor Norman, floor's all yours. You're muted, Councillor Norman. Councillor Norman?
I thought I'd unmuted myself.
Got you. You're there. I got worried for a second.
Well, I'd just like to say, as well as everyone else, what a fantastic presentation this evening. But I'd also like to say I'm not surprised about how great it was, having involved with the young people in the youth council, I really wouldn't have expected anything less from them. So to actually comment on some of the points you've raised, especially Black history, I actually sent to our Director of Education a link that Hackney Council have designed a diverse curriculum with a teaching pack and teaching plans, which they're making available free to all our schools. So I've sent that link because I know some of our head teachers are very committed to looking at this and to do it. And as I say, I haven't seen the content of it because I haven't actually registered for it. I'm not sure I can. I think only schools can. But I mean, that's something that I think, you know, there's more and more of a commitment to make sure we do embed Black history throughout the curriculum, not just in history, but in English and other areas. And I know I read somewhere today that a retired primary school teacher is making a book available free to every school in the country, which is the achievements of 100 Black people, to give you know, people role models and to show the resilience of Black people who have experienced racism and, you know, lack of privilege. So, I mean, I think things are moving and it's important that we keep up that momentum and, you know, that we succeed. I think what's also come over to me, and I think we really have to take it on board more, is the communications, because I am aware of the issues that young people raise because I attend youth council and I hear them, but I don't think that's shared out across the council, and that's a weakness, and I think we have to do that. And I think we also, as a council, have to make sure we communicate with you exactly what we are doing, because I don't think we do that either. And that's something that we need to sort of address. I don't want to take up all the time. That's, you know, enough to be going on with, I think. But I hope that sort of answers some of the questions that have been raised. So thank you.
That's very helpful. Thank you, Councillor Norman. Before I ask Councillor Mrs. Ryan, if everyone here just looks at the chat function, you'll see my colleague Matthew Essex has posted a link to a consultation we're doing on the future of Fairlop Waters. Again, you guys as young people, you know, this park belongs to you. It's really important we get your views on this. So when you get a chance, once the meeting's done, click on that link, have a look through it, tell the council what you think you want in terms of the future of Fairlop Waters. Councillor Mrs. Ryan, did you want to come in? You're muted.
Am I unmuted? Yes. It's yeah, I was just going to make the point about the Fairlop Waters consultation, that I hope every one of the panel has sent in what they would like to see. Okay, it's aspirational and you're not going to get everything, but if you make suggestions, things that are feasible will be done perhaps, and if not now, as in the future. So, and get that done on all the media that you actually use, because as Councillor Garfield said, the young people use a lot more different medias than many of us. Green space is absolutely vital, and I mean the leader actually set up a park panel group of suggestions of how we could improve the parks and green spaces, and actually I have just sent, well not now but like in the last day or so, an asking for an update, because we made about 50 different recommendations of the improved and green that wouldn't actually cost very much, if nothing at all. Some, of course, a lot more expensive and would be something that would happen long term. And more important, a virtual map of every park so that everyone could see exactly what is in our different parks, because our parks are actually full of really good, interesting things to see. And presumably, Chair, we will be going through the different topics, will we? Or should I, because you'll go through transport, or should I just say it now?
Yeah, you can say it now. I mean,
because
there hasn't
certainly
been any-
buses and things like that. Yes, I know it's difficult because a lot of the buses have been cut, but something I would make the point, you all have a responsibility too. It's all very well asking LRT to provide sanitisers. Every single one of us should be carrying sanitisers at all times. It should be just as you carry your mask all the time, you should be carrying sanitisers, because you need to keep yourself safe and you need to keep other people safe. And perhaps that's something that you could encourage, you know, everyone to do. And I mean, this is such a great meeting. I've been thoroughly enjoying it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. On Fairlock Waters, one of the suggestions I made was a wild swimming area, and I suspect quite a few people have. But yeah, that's one of the things I would love, to just jump in and have a swim. Anyway, make your views known by clicking the link that Matthew has posted. I'm looking to see if there are any other hands up. I've opened the floor up totally now, so you don't have to be a panel member or a cabinet member. You can be anyone if you wanted to ask a question or make any comments. Just pop up your hand and I'll bring you on. Matthew, floor's yours.
Thanks, Chair.
Tell us about the wild swimming area.
Yeah, yeah, we'll declare your interest, don't worry. Thanks very much, Chair. I wasn't sure if you're going to allow officers to speak, but I'm grateful for the opportunity. And I thought I'll just join in the group, really, that it was a fantastic presentation and really great to see so many views. I appreciate that members of the Youth Cabinet might not be comfortable doing this right now, in which case I'm very happy to receive it separately or have a different conversation or whatever. But I was really struck by the references to actually what young people or the young people took part wanted to see, and particularly the language used. You know, more to do, something exciting, something that makes us stand out, something that gets Redbridge recognised in outer London as a special place. You know, now I, as a years old man, will have some views of what that should be, and of course I'm sure we also, as other colleagues and members, will also have views. I don't know if anyone's happy to do it now, and if not, as I say, I'm happy to receive it afterwards, but I'd be really interested in just sort of getting some reflections actually on what that means to you. When you say these sorts of things to us, what is it that's in your mind that you think actually would make it exciting for you?
We'll see if anyone wants to respond to Matthew's point, but I'm sure everyone heard it. Put your hands up if you do. I've got Mr. Holder who has his hand up. So whilst we wait for responses from young people to Matthew, we'll take Mr. Holder. Mr. Holder, all yours.
Right, thank you, Chair. Chair, can I just apologise? I was having some computer problems at first, so I couldn't connect from the beginning. But however, I did read the presentation, and I thought it was well put together. I'm really proud of this. Chair, what I'm really excited about is the Black history consideration. And I think that's fantastic. I really do, because I've been to lots of meetings in the area. And when I'm in the meeting with my Black associates, whatever, the kids always ask about Black history and why is it not in the curriculum in Redbridge? And I think we should be looking at, and as Councillor Norman said, Hackney Council has implemented this. And I don't know if it's actually implemented in the curriculum, but I think Redbridge should be doing this. And I think we should be putting some funding aside to implement this. And how's this? I know times are hard, but I don't know if we can find some funding to implement Black history being taught in school. And I wholeheartedly support that. Well done.
Thank you, Mr. Holder. Councillor Norman, did you want to come back to that?
Well, obviously, I fully agree with Mr. Holder, on this. I think that the curriculum that has been designed by Hackney, making available free to any school who wants it. So I think it would be quite remiss of us not to actually offer it to our schools, with our recommendation that we think this is something they should really consider seriously. And as I said, I have from conversations with head teachers, I know that, you know, there's quite a few that are really committed to this. And maybe I can just, I mean, echo what Councillor Donovan said. As a Scot and as someone with a degree in history, I was never taught Scottish history. I was always taught British history, which was English history. So I am sympathetic to the need to make sure all communities are represented in our curriculum, not just in history, but across the whole range.
Thank you, Councillor Norman. I've got Marley RYC. Marley, did you want to go ahead? I think you're still muted.
Yeah, sorry about that, Chair. With the Black History, I was just wondering, you know, when restrictions do get lowered and we can meet face to face, I was just wondering, is there a possibility maybe that we could have people from different ethnic backgrounds telling their story of like why they decided to migrate down to Britain, like opportunities in Britain have, like for example, like we had many people migrated from India, from the Caribbean. So could we have like different sort of ethnic minorities telling their stories of why they decided to come to?
That's a really good question. Did anyone want to answer that, officers or cabinet member? I don't think I've got any.
Are Jade and Ian still there?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, because they might be, yeah, for the museum and, you know, for the heritage side.
Yeah, I'm happy to come in on that if that's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, partly because that's been my daytime job for the past sort of 20 years, is setting up an archive of people's stories, and I have worked in my other hat with the Redbridge Museum and Museum of London and various other places about doing that. And I think that's an excellent idea, and maybe it's something that the Youth Council might want to put together some kind of panel which, you know, which could advise on the type of material that they feel should be collected, which tells the borough's story of all communities in the. And I think that would be a really useful thing about guiding us about the type of history, A, that we collect, B, that we document, and C, that we make sure is passed on to future generations. And it might also advise us about our education resource, how we localize that, as well as internationalize it, as well as regionally be inclusive, but also have that local input, that local story that is so interesting in as far as how the boroughs developed, how communities have grown, prospered, and become so important to our way of life. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Garfield. Before I ask Councillor Ahmed to come in, I'll quickly ask Jade to respond, because I suspect she's responding directly to this query. Jade, do you want to unmute yourself?
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what Judith just said, we have actually hosted a number of her of the Eastside Community Heritage exhibitions at the library, and as well as that, Redbridge Museum has done you know, an extensive exhibition on Caribbean migration to Redbridge. We've also commissioned a very short film about the Black people within Redbridge before the Windrush. So we're definitely up for hosting something like that. If anyone wants to get in contact with me, we can arrange something.
Ali, I think you've got two people who can follow this up with you, because it is a great idea. Councillor Ahmed?
Yeah, I was just trying to say the same kind of work that the Redbridge Museum and Library have been doing. I've been following that. It's a great initiative. I think that could be the best starting point, and an exhibition, say, it will be really helpful. Because I've been doing a research work with one of the universities. We are capturing the oral history of the local migrant community. So it's a post-colonial identity and memories, how it has been playing a role. So I think it's a great way forward if you can, Judith has got a wealth of knowledge and Jade's been on board. That was one of the proposals I was coming up with. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Ahmed. So somebody asked what Matthew was asking before. Matthew, did you want to just quickly reiterate what you were asking for before in terms of ideas from young people, and then we can talk about that for a bit.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Just very simply, just what it is that's exciting, or what would be exciting. So, what is it that, as we look at regen plans for the borough and look at our town centres or Fairlop or Hainault or whatever, actually, what would be exciting to you? What are the sort of things you want to be able to do, the things you want to see, the stuff that you might want to be able to use or mess around with or whatever it is. I think the point was made earlier on. Opportunity to really state your views. It is, after all, I should have introduced myself. I'm the corporate director of regeneration and culture. It's ultimately my job to make it happen. So, if you tell me now, you might be in with a better chance.
Right. Quick, put in your requests. Raoul, did you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So, it kind of links to the point we got before. I think that something relating to maybe culture would be really cool. Maybe seeing different roads have different themes, that would be really interesting. Something out of the ordinary, not to look at, for example, Hainault Road as just a road, something else to it. Something that maybe would make other people be interested to see. So maybe if we could have something so interesting that maybe people from the other side of the country would like to see, I think that would be really, really nice. Also, the idea of child friendly, I think that's really good. Maybe in parks, just have a 10 to 18 area, stuff like that would be really cool. Maybe us seeing that you guys prioritize us in some parts would be really, I guess, good, because it would make us use it. Yeah, thank you.
Pretty good ideas there, Matthew. Linking locations to history. I've got Adrian Loads. Adrian, did you want to unmute yourself?
Yeah, hi, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say, I agree with everybody. It's a really good series of presentations. I think I said in the chat, but just to reiterate, I think the ideas around communications are really good. And I think that's just something that we can get on and do and set up some work experience opportunities for young people. I think as a council, we gain enormously from that. So we'll get on and doing that. And I suppose the other thing I just want to encourage the young people to do is obviously, I know they will anyway, but feel free to use the Youth Council and the Child Friendly Borough work to almost ask for officers or whoever to come to your meetings to talk about these ideas and how we progress them in more detail if you want to.
Thank you, Adrian. I've got Amna Farouk.
Yep, okay, so I just wanted to add on to Raul's point. So I was thinking maybe more sport-related facilities, sorry. For example, more basketball courts or badminton courts in parks and, just like more, I would really appreciate more sports stuff.
Sorry, Amna, which of the parks do you think lack these facilities at the moment? Just because I know, I think we've got Ian Vara here who can make a note of it. He's in charge of Redbridge Vision, basically.
Just like local parks, I guess. And yeah, I don't have any specific ones, but I have heard from like many of my friends. It's mainly for like students and teenagers. I think they would really appreciate this.
Okay, thank you for that. We've got Raoul. Is your hand still up from before, or is this a new hand up?
A new one.
Yep, go ahead.
Cool. So I just wanted to ask the councillors their view on the jobs part of what I talked about. So it was basically if you guys would maybe fund something to hire us and give us work experience would be really cool. So if anyone is up to.
I'll ask the cabinet members if they wanted to say anything on that. I've got Councillor Garfield who's got her hands up. Did you want to respond to that, Councillor?
Yeah, I just would like to say that I think it's really important that we take on board Kickstart, which is really going to create some opportunities for young people. But I think it's something that we seriously need to look at in as far as not just the apprenticeships and work experience, but also about jobs, because there is we do acknowledge and we do understand that 18 to 24-year-olds have been severely disproportionately affected by, particularly by the pandemic, but also in as far as the jobs market. And I think that is an area that we are taking very, very seriously. But the more that you can push us and the more that you can advise us and tell us what kind of things you need, I think the more effective we can be in actually pushing the council to deliver that and officers to deliver that. I mean, I've run various training schemes, and I always try and employ locally. And I think the more we can do that within the voluntary sector as well and support them through Kickstart programs, because some of those Kickstart programs actually need, you need to have a big pool of people before you can actually be successful. But the more that we can employ locally and promote employing locally, the more young people locally will get employed. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you, Councillor Garfield. I got Marley.
Yes, just two things. One, to answer Matthew's question, and another one on the environment considerations. But I'll start off with Matthew's answer. One thing that I do have in mind would be maybe if the council could help promote cadet youth or youth organizations that do happen in the Borough of Redbridge, because me as a cadet myself, not many young people know about the cadet organization and what it does do. So maybe the council could help promote that. Another thing is the environment considerations. One of the points was public health, which says introduce COVID compliant quiet streets. With the quiet streets, could the council may be considering adding like humps down to roads that don't have humps instead of closing off some roads? Because as some may have saw in like Ilford Recorder, for example, there was a report where emergency services couldn't go down some roads to get down to some of their patients, and some people couldn't really, skip the traffic. So could maybe the council add in humps?
Thank you for the question. I'm not sure if we've got anyone from highways tonight. Matthew, you're welcome to take a shot at answering that if you want, but yeah.
It's a very very polite invitation, Chair, but I think I probably have to defer on that particular issue. I'm sorry about that, but we can get a
That's
comment.
all right. That's all right. I've got Donald Chalker. So Donald, he's the man basically for this question.
Oh. Apologies, yes. So briefly, yes, there's all sorts of things that we can do.
Donald, sorry to interrupt. Do you want to just tell us who you are, what your role is?
Sorry, apologies, yes. So I work in the Highways and Transportation team in Redbridge Council. So we deal with roads, I deal with school streets, deal with buses, Transport for London, anything to do with transport, and that comes under the department that I work in. So yeah, back to planters and road humps and the like. So there's a variety of things we can do. We can block roads where we feel that it's a good thing to do, and we've seen that. What we can do to slow traffic down, we can put in speed humps. They're not liked by people who live close to speed humps because you do get a bit of vibration, but if you design them properly and put them in, then that's good. We can also put in chicanes So rather than traffic travelling fast in a straight line, if it has to turn and weave as it travels along a street, then we can do that. We are looking at lower speed limits across the borough, 20-mile-an-hour zones, and rolling that as much as we can, because we know if you have an accident at 30 miles an hour, it's a lot more severe than if it's an accident at just 20 miles an hour. So what I'm saying is road humps are one solution, but we have many other solutions as well. And we need to make sure we put in the right solution in the right location to make everyone happy.
Thank you for that, Donald. Ian Vara has messaged that they're going to, so he and Jade will have to leave the Central Library shortly. Are there any questions for Ian or Jade before they leave? So Ian is essentially in charge of our parks. He's in charge of Vision that runs our cultural and leisure services. So if anyone's got any questions, please fire away. Mr. Holder, did you want to go ahead?
Yes, Chair. I would just like to expand on sort of when it comes to work experience, what it's all about, sort of young sort of sharing, hiring young kids, young people for providing work experience and opportunities to help and share important messages. Chair, I think that's a fantastic idea. I think Redbridge can provide this. I think in all the contracts we give out, I think there should be conditions in these contracts so that they can employ young people, especially Morrisons. Morrisons can provide that sort of services. And there's lots of other contracts which is given out. And there should be conditions with this contract so that it can employ youngsters to experience in work and provide work experience for them, and even sort of permanent sort of apprenticeship for youngsters in the contracts we hand out. So I think possibly if the council could look into this to provide that sort of experience with the contracts and put conditions with the contracts that within the contract should provide some form of sort of job experience and apprenticeship for youngsters.
I don't know if there are any officers here who are able to pick that up, respond, or even take it on. The next hand up is Sean. Do you want to unmute yourself, Sean?
Yeah, hi. On Matthew's point of making this borough more exciting, I think community spaces play a very important part in that. So the Fairloft proposal, like the consultation, is great. And plans for spaces like the Seven Kings Community Hub and stuff, again, are amazing. But I guess lots of young people have to turn to, standing around like estates and things like that, because while we have the wondrous Vision youth centres and places like Valentine's Park, like there aren't, I guess the Vision youth centres are great, but there aren't many sort of public spaces which young people can comfortably do things in, I guess. And again, parks serve their purpose well, but I guess, I don't know, youth services in themselves haven't, I don't know, it feels like over the past decade, they haven't been that strong. So places like the Seven Kings Community Hub would be great. And I think it's so important to have places where young people can come together comfortably. And there aren't enough places where, in the evening, if you have nothing to do, where you can go together with your friends. Of course, outside of the pandemic, not in the middle of, when you could probably die. But in normal time, it'd be nice to have more spaces where young people can come together to do things, because, and there are lots of great spaces, but I guess every little helps. And I guess, yeah, sustainable, and on top of that, I think having more sustainable spaces. So as part of the work we did in environment, like, again, it's the little things, that really do make a difference. So yeah, I don't know whether that really explained much, but yeah, the little things really do make the biggest differences.
Well, firstly, let's hope no one dies. We're praying for that. And that's a big endorsement for the community hubs. Matthew, did you want to come in?
No, well, just to say thanks very much for that, Sean. I mean, all points absolutely noted, and I completely agree. I mean, it doesn't take much at this time of year to realise that once the parks aren't available to us, there's not much to do once it gets a bit dark, is it really? So, I mean, I think the community house point is absolutely right. One of your colleagues, sorry, I didn't note down the name, was talking about study spaces earlier and this idea of safe spaces for people to go. And that's absolutely at the heart of what we want those hubs to become. And I think that's quite a big challenge for us to, as we develop those up more formally, to work out what that actually means in practice, you know, and what it is that makes somewhere attractive and open to young people as well as not so young people, and how we make sure that everyone can enjoy those spaces all together. Because yeah, we want them to be really good quality. We want them to bring people together. We want them to really feel owned by the community in all of its various different guises. So yeah, a big challenge and absolutely taken on board. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Donald, is that an old hands up or is that a new one?
An old one, sorry.
Cool. All right, I've got Marley next.
I completely agree with what Sean said. Talking on his point, I have spoken to a lot of the young people at my school in Wanstead, and a lot of them have said that in Redbridge there isn't really anything to do, and they would like for maybe the local council to maybe fund with youth organizations and just places where they can go, maybe like parks, like make the parks more, how do I say it, like more vibrant and more exciting, like add more stuff like basketball courts, like what someone else did say before, and other sports so that they can do outside with friends and maybe with family members too.
Okay, thank you for that. I think Matthew's made a note of that, and you mentioned money and funding. Maria Christophe is also here. I'm sure she's made a note of that too. I've got Councillor Ahmed next.
Thank you, Chair. It's more of a question to the young participant tonight. You know, you've mentioned a lot of the points, which has not only a local, but also a global connotation to all of that, or a national. For example, the climate change work or the Black history work. Have you been doing any outreach work, or have you been part of any wider campaigns or any other campaigns? I would really like to know about that too. Thank you.
Which young person wants to answer that? Marley, do you want to go ahead?
Well, I have recently been trying to promote the veterans, our local veterans around our borough. So just to promote and tell the young people of Redbridge all the stuff and how the local how the participants and the veterans in our local borough was involved with like World War One and just really trying to promote so that the young people can get an understanding of what it was like in World War One, World War Two, and what sort of different ethnic minorities were involved and what sort of veterans were involved in our local borough.
That's really good. Thank you. Any other things?
I've got Yusuf Kabir and then I've got Raul. So Yusuf, did you want to go first? And then we'll bring in Raul.
Okay. So in Scouts, I have been doing, I'm trying to raise money for veterans as well, in a poppy appeal and to help like British soldiers fight. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Raul, did you want to go next?
Yep. As far as RIC and CFR ambassadors, we did a MyZine. So we just were partnered with in the back of the town
Space
hall.
Studios.
Yes, Space Studios, and we did a booklet out of art. and it was really good. That was with the CFR ambassadors. Then we did a back to school leaflet. It was actually Shan's idea, and I think everyone here should have gotten it, I think. And also we did a CCG consultation around mental health.
That's some good work there. Pretty impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
I think, I mean, I can't see any more hands up. So I wanted to proceed towards summarizing or concluding the meeting. Before I start doing that, did anyone have any final comments or questions? Just wanted to give a final opportunity to everyone. Officers, councillors, young people, anyone wanted to make any comments or say anything?
I've been told to. So I'd like to give another quick thank you to all the councillors and all the officers and everyone who's taken part with us over the past few weeks, because, you know, this is to build a brighter future for Redbridge. And all of your cooperation is really, really appreciated. I guess we've discussed communications at a few points in this meeting. I guess, how else do you want to feed back to us on whether you implement any recommendations or progress any further with anything we've said today?
So just in response to your question, one of the things we're going to do, and we're going to discuss that in a few minutes, is I'll ask members of the panel if they'll agree for this panel to send a list of all the recommendations and requests you guys have made to the relevant cabinet areas or cabinet members, and we'll follow that up. We'll ask them to respond basically to each of your points, and then at the next meeting or before the next meeting, we can distribute the responses to you guys so you know what we have done or what will be done. So we'll have a follow-up. I see Raul's got his hand up. Did you want to say something, Raul?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that if anyone didn't understand any of our points, we are here so we can answer anything we talked about.
Well, the one thing I'll give you guys is that the presentation you gave was very clear. I don't think there was any ambiguity about what you guys were asking for. So credit to you guys for giving such a concise, clear and succinct presentation. I think the final person to speak will be Marley. Marley, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to say thank you for everyone that is here this evening. Thank you all for giving your time. Just one last thing. I'd just like to emphasize on what majority of people have been saying is about communication. Councillor Ahmed did say that is key for communication with the young people and with Redbridge Council is very key. So I was just wondering, this is to the officers and to the councillors, how would you like us as young people to contact you?
A broad question, but are there any officers who wanted to come into answering that? Councillor Ahmed, do you want to go ahead first?
Just for myself, you can directly email me. I think all of the councillors are available anytime. You can email us directly. I mean, the officers are there also to provide you advice, but like my ward is Ilford Town Ward, which is the Ilford Town Centre and the adjacent areas. So there's a lot of work that goes on, a lot of the consultation at times when they plan and put up there. I really want to go there and get involved using the young person's point of view, because I work with the young people all the time and children. So I think it will be good that if you come forward and, you know, ask me that, can you do this for us, or anyone? I think that would be really lovely. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Councillor Ahmed. Councillor Donovan?
Yeah, just the same. I mean, email us direct, or I'm in the surgeries if you want to come and talk there. Hopefully in person at some point in the near future. And also we've got a Facebook group for Wanstead Village, and there's Cleaner Greener Wanstead, which is another Facebook group. So yeah, any of those ways are good. So the more you got to say, the better.
So just on what both Councillor Donovan and Ahmed said, there's a page on the council's website where I think if you put your postcode in, it'll give you a list of who your ward councillors are. And there you'll find email addresses or phone numbers that you can contact them on. I think most councillors are happy to receive calls or emails with casework or other things. So you're always welcome to reach out to them. Right. I don't think I've got anyone new. It's just the previous hands that are up. So on that basis, I want to first thank the young people who have presented today. You guys did a really fantastic job, and I think I speak on behalf of all of the members of the panel. We were really impressed, and we are going to follow this up basically to ensure you guys get what you need. And on that, I will look around to panel members now. Can I just ask everyone to put their hands down? I think the previous ones are still up. So that way I know if anyone new wants to speak or not. On that, I will ask panel members if members of the panel are okay with us sending a list of the recommendations and requests to relevant cabinet members to ask for a response. Are panel members agreed to that?
Yeah.
Councillor Ahmed?
No, agreeing, Chair.
Cool. I've got hands up for Councillor Garfield. Well, no one's saying no, so I will take that as a yes. So Michael and Cal, that's one for us to take forward. On a final note, thank you to the officers. I know Michael, Cal and other officers have been working relentlessly behind the scenes over the past few weeks with the young people and us to arrange and facilitate this meeting. So thank you to you guys too. And also thank you to some of the officers who are here tonight and have answered some questions. Matthew, thank you. Donald, thank you. And anyone else who I may have missed. Mr. Holder, thank you to you as well for tuning in. I will now move on to the next item on our agenda. Can I just ask everyone to mute themselves, please, because I'm getting a lot of feedback. I think that's gone now. So the next item on our agenda is dates of future meetings and indicative business. So these are 2021 external scrutiny panel meeting dates and indicative business. They're set out in the agenda. So the next one I am looking at is in basically, where is it? January the 7th, which is public transport. The one after that is on the 8th of March, which is Redbridge Community Safety Partnership Plan. And the one after that is the 12th of May, External Partners Report as relevant. I'm sure we'll decide on that in the next couple of meetings. Just on the 12th of May, that's after the mayoral elections, isn't it, Michael?
Yes, it is. So we might want to take, make a decision on whether we want to respond to that or whether we need a bit more time and maybe move that meeting along a little bit to take account of that. We'll take
so
that
I think the January and March meetings will be better for us to decide on what to do with the May meeting or when to move it to, because we'll have a rough idea or a better idea of business. And if there are any needs that pop up, then we can accommodate them. So if our members agreed on that agenda item as it is today.
It would be helpful to know if there are any specific issues that any panel members would want to put before our public transport partners, and then we can prepare them for that. But that can be offline. It doesn't have to be here now.
Yeah, so what we'll do, as always, is we'll send out an email to all the members on the council asking them about their ward level issues on public transport, and then we'll take it up. Right, so that's agenda item 6. Agenda item 7 is any other items which I decide are urgent. I don't think there is anything. Councillor Donovan, your hands up. Councillor Garfield, your hands up as well. Did you guys want to speak?
Sorry, it was an old hand. It doesn't seem to be coming down at the moment, so I apologise.
Is that the same for you as well, Paul? I think it is like yeah, cool. All right. So there's no other urgent business. I see Raul, you've got your hands up. I'll fine. Go ahead. Just quickly tell us.
Okay, sorry to go back. So Colin's idea for the jobs was to maybe councillors to hire young people to represent councillors on the media, as we're really good at it and we know what young people like. So I think that's a really good idea and it should maybe be used.
I think that is a good idea, but unlike MPs, councillors do not hire people. They don't have office staff. They don't have individual offices as well. We all work out of the same room in the town hall. We don't have staff who work for us individually, but I suppose that is something for MPs in Redbridge to take on board. So if members agree, perhaps we can forward that specific request to the 4 members of parliament who cover constituencies in Redbridge. Are members all right with that?
Yeah.
Cool. So there aren't any other urgent items for us to consider. I think I can now safely thank everyone and conclude this meeting. Thank you all very much for coming. Have a good night and we'll hopefully be in touch very soon. See you all in January.
Thank you, everyone.
And doing such a good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheerio.
Michael.
Yes, Cal.
Yeah, I'll just hold on.
Yeah.
See if Rain is there.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Miley. Bye, Yusuf.
Bye. Well done, everyone. Brilliant.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye. Hello.
Hello. It's just
That was brilliant.
that was yeah, very, very good.
Yeah.
Raina, it was a piece of cake.
Nikita, you need to leave now.
If not, we can.
Yeah. Can you ask him to leave? Can you just leave?
I'm kind of trying to remove.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
already.
Oh yeah, phew. I was just like type. I'm sorry, Chris. Chris was like texting me. I had the WhatsApp going. I was like, I can't see anything. My hand's like, I was trying to type, but the quicker I type, the more mistakes I made.
Yeah, because Colin emailed us. I know that you wouldn't access it. That's why I took a picture and let you know. Yeah, it would be better for you to read the message rather than I. But I think they didn't understand correctly. So I think when we send out the list, we might need to elaborate what.
Yeah. We'll once Michael's drafted it, we can share it with you to make sure it correlates with what you know they kind of wanted to get across. And we won't put it out wider anyway without sharing it in our little group first. Yeah. But no, it went really well. I thought really well.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I think all the commitment that the particular councillors, I mean, they said you need to hold us to account. Yeah. So okay.
Yeah.
And they were very clear. I thought they spoke brilliantly. Really clear. It's really good.
They're a variety. Some definitely speak better than others, but they did well. They definitely did well.
Yeah.
How
And
much
I think
better
the
the practice
seriousness
was it,
came
Raina?
across. Sorry, Nazma.
I was just going to say how much better than the practice run, because we had a practice run Monday, Cal, and I kid you not,
Did ya?
it was excruciating. One of the young people actually said,
That's our secret. Shush.
one of the young people actually said, can I be honest, that was painful. And I couldn't help but laugh, but this went so smoothly. I don't think it could have gone better than it did. Some of them, Yusuf, Sia, and Nikita, they spoke really well.
Yeah.
But then I found out that Yusuf's an actor. That's why
I did get that really quiet. I never knew anything about that at all. We'll have to use it more now.
It went really well, and I think the seriousness about reporting back, taking it forward, and I'm sure this. Sorry.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say one thing that I'm quite pleasantly pleased about is some of the actions and questions that are being asked by colleagues across the council. We've already sort of started that, so you know a lot about the Fairlock Water stuff. So we had them meet our ambassadors last week, and they gave us the rundown of what they're going to be doing in Fairlock Waters, and we had a really good sort of session, sharing ideas about what they want to see, and also for Black History Month as well. I think I'm not sure if you were in on that sort of research meeting, Cal, but a few weeks prior to that, through the ambassadors meeting, people step forward because young people step forward because they wanted to take part in planning for next year's Black History Month.
Yeah, that would be good.
And the fact that now we've got Jade to speak to, it makes Fazana and I job easier to say, look, whatever you're doing, we've got the avenues that we can get young people on board. Yeah. I've already emailed Jade, Raina, you will have seen in your inbox.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
I've got to be honest, I'm like trying to keep out of the WhatsApp. I haven't the other one.
And I felt it's all very well them responding to the consultation, but it's after that we need to keep them involved.
Yeah, definitely. It's the follow-up.
It's for Matthew to then say the results of the consultation are like this. We think we're going to do this now. How does that? So it's carrying them through, really.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not just the tick box exercise at the start of the at the start of the process. It has to be consistent throughout.
Yeah.
And then hopefully this will be, because they've caught us very early. So as they move forward with the work on Fairlock, for example, because we are in touch with the consultants now. We'll be able to get them back in for numerous meetings that we have, whether it's Youth Council, ambassadors, or a one-off meeting specifically for Fairlock Waters. There's that continuity, and it just goes to show the young people, look, your views have been taken on board. We still want,
Yeah, and if there's any, I mean, I would say to you, perhaps once a month, just send Raina the list of all the consultations that are running at that, at that time, and then you've only got to forward it on by email. It's up to the young people or their parents, etc., to feed into that. But at least is that avenue of communication, because communication was key, wasn't it, today?
Yeah, it came through quite strongly, didn't it?
Yeah.
Raina, how often do you meet with the young people? What's the kind of
we meet weekly for the Youth Council, and the Child-Friendly Redbird Ambassadors is every other week.
Okay,
still a lot.
That's a lot. That's good though. Okay.
And then you get different people coming to different groups. You don't always get every single meeting, so there's not necessarily the continuity there. But we do minutes and stuff. But the key ones are there most of the time.
And I think the more important thing is, I think we will schedule some of the relevant topics that link to any project they want to work. But of course, anything prioritized, we need to prioritize, need to come out quick, and we will reschedule it and prioritize it. So Raina, we will look at some diaries for Matthew,
Yeah. And TFL will be coming to the next meeting of the external. Michael and I haven't even spoken about that yet, but how we operate a public transport. So what you could do is, again, have a couple from the Youth Council, a couple of ambassadors come, maybe not all, about 4 or 5 of them join, and that's
repeat those points to them directly.
And actually they can speak to the reps direct.
I think that's important. I think don't miss that, because I think
7th of Jan.
The offer is there from the chair.
And it's a public meeting.
7th Jan. Okay.
Yeah, lovely. All right. No, that went really well. Thanks, everyone.
Well, thank you. It was quite painful getting to this point, but it was
well worth it.
It was worth the pain.
Well worth it.
It was a brilliant job.
It's a piece of cake, Raina. Raina will understand what I mean. It's a piece of cake.
It was well worth it. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Speak to you all soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Good rest of
have a nice evening, everyone.
Thanks, National.
Thank you.
I'll try and catch up with you tomorrow,
Raina. Slides, even if Fire's not having a go at you. It's like
how quick it was.
Fire's having a nightmare. He's always a bit of a nightmare. So I just knew he was going to say something. He always insults somebody at a meeting. It just who it is. Luckily for you, I'm sorry for poor Nazmal, but luckily for us, it was Nazmal this time, and not someone more
senior. Time I've been on the end of one of Faizan's sort of put downs, and it didn't feel good, I'll tell you that. I'm going to be on my toes at the next meeting. But but thanks again. I'll try and catch up with you tomorrow, Raina, or Thursday.
See you all soon. Take care.
See ya. Bye, Chris. Bye, Michael. Bye, Cal.
Bye.
Bye.
Raina, I'm gonna call you in a minute, okay? Raina, gone?
She's gone.
All right. Well, thanks, Michael. Thanks,
You're welcome.
Carl.
Very welcome.
Take care.
Cheers now.
Bye-bye.